to get your thoughts as well as Bernie's on this. I traveled all around New York City today and push on with their day. How can we, though, push on but still be aware of our surroundings and not just go into, a coma or have compassion fatigue, so to speak, and ignore the threats that might be out there?
Well, listen, New York City has been through this from the biggest and most substantial terror attack in world history in the aftermath of 9/11 to a number of events like this. They've seen it, they've witnessed it. Some have been around it. They know, they can't stop their lives. They're not going to stop living as a result. They're going to move on with their lives. But the key point is, and this is what Jonathan was saying, and every one of the experts will tell you, we live in a very different world today than we did 20 years ago. It's extremely important to be vigilant, to report anything you see suspicious, to be vigilant of your surroundings. You see things that you don't feel well about or you have a gut instinct about, call the cops, call the authorities, let them deal with it, let them look at it. In every one of these circumstances, and I'm sure this will be another one, every time you have one of these, somebody will come around, a neighbor, friends, associates, workers. They'll say, you know what? I knew it. I knew there was a problem. I saw this. I saw that. At the end of the day, if you saw, if you knew, why didn't you call the authorities? We're scared to death that somebody's going to say you're racially profiling, so you don't make any phone calls. And in the end, these guys get away with this. That's got to stop.
Well, a prime example of that is out in San Bernardino when friends of the couple that ended up conducting the attack talked later about seeing pipe bombs laying around the apartment, didn't call anybody. I mean, which is the height of craziness. And and going back to something that Jonathan said, for the mayor and for the governor to say there's no known current threat going on is ridiculous, because if you'll remember, like 3 days after Thanksgiving, ISIS threatened attacks on New York during the Christmas season. In fact, they released this lovely photo of Santa in Times Square. If we get that, we could throw that up there. There's Santa with his little bag of tricks standing right next to a box of dynamite. I'd say, Bernie and Jonathan, that looks like a threat to me. What say you, Jonathan?
They have to stop looking. I talk about this in the book, Sheep No More. They have to stop looking at a probability and start looking at the possibility. We deal too much in numbers when it comes to counterterrorism and threat assessments, and we have to start looking at what is the possibility that this could happen here. And if people start asking that questions, they'll start to see that the possibility is 100% in New York City. So rather than walk around paranoid, or even worse, absolutely complacent, which, we were talking about there earlier, people just immediately go back to their business. New York City, believe it or not, is probably one of the worst places for complacency, even though they've seen all this stuff. You have to get your face out of your phone. You have to be able to look around and take mental notes of what's normal and what's not, and then have a plan. If you can't mitigate the circumstance, have a plan to act. I just cannot say that enough.